Morning, everyone. Just going to wait a couple more minutes. We've got a few people joining in. Feel free to press on the chat there. Just introduce yourself. I'd be interested to know where people are from. Morning, David. Good to see you. Stuart as well, for the Leamington local there. Good to see you. Darren as well, and Becky. Good to see you guys. Who have we got on here as well? Bill, good to see you. I can see you on the phone. Helen, nice to see you. Tom, another local there in the New Forest. Good to see you. CJ, you managed to get in. That's good. 7 AI solutions you can start using in your business tomorrow. So the idea here genuinely is to give you guys some really practical, useful stuff that you can implement into your business super easily. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that today. So the way I'll run this through this morning is I'll go through each of the 7 things kind of one at a time. Just a quick introduction for those of you who don't know me, Dan Sagar, DS Business Growth. And essentially what I do is I spend time working with business owners and business leaders, mainly across Hampshire, but some across the UK as well. And I'm working with them on software, systems, strategy, and growth. So that is what I spend most of my time doing. I do a lot of this one-to-one, and I also do this in group formats. So I run a monthly group peer board up in Winchester with peer-to-peer, for those of you that have heard that. And I like to run lots of events and workshops. And this is my first webinar, full disclosure. So I hope it goes all right tech-wise today. But yeah, great to see so many of you here. Richard, good to see you. Up north there, good to see you. Thanks for coming on. So I want to profess, first of all, I'm not an AI expert. Okay, there's probably some people in here that know more about AI than myself in terms of technology and how things technically work. And that's not the point here. The point here is I pride myself on giving really practical advice that you can implement and use realistically. So it's not about being a techie here. It's not about having a really high level knowledge on the technicalities of AI. The point is here, what can we leverage and what can we use to make AI work in our business, to make us work better, more efficiently, quicker, save us money, perhaps give our clients more value or a better experience, free up our teams to do more things. So it's all these things which make us better. And that's the practical use of AI, which I want to talk about today. And today's not about me at all, really. Today is all about Sally. So I want to talk about Sally. Sally is a local business owner. She owns a business down here. And I want to take you through a little journey and a little story of how Sally is going to implement AI into her business to help her do all of the things that I just talked about there. So today we're going to look at Sally. Sally doesn't exist, just to be clear, but for the next hour and a bit, she absolutely does. And we're going to go through these 7 things on a bit of a journey. So the way I've formatted this is we're going to start at the beginning. Sally's got this business and she wants to appear more. She wants to get her name out there more. She wants to be found. And she's going to go through to getting customers, getting some inquiries in, talking to prospects, getting some sales, and then moving forward on that customer journey. And those are the things that I want to take you through here on these 7 steps. So starting with the first one, we're going to look at getting Sally a modern and functional website. And the story here is there's no reason now to have a really poor website. And I've got an example here, which I'll show you, but there's probably some web developers here in the room. And the point here is not to do anyone out of a job or anyone out of a business. And I just want to show you how simple and easy it is now to create a website or just a landing page really easily. And I want to do that by way of showing you an example. So this is a business here in the New Forest, very good business, been going a long time, over 20 years. And this is their website. So this is a fairly basic Wix template that they used. It's got all their information on, but as you can tell, it looks quite dated. This website is less than a year old. It was just a quick website template that was put together. But as you can see, it looks quite dated. It's not the best template. We have done a few things to improve it. We've added some, their services have been added in there, FAQs, all these things. But that is not, of course, the best looking website in the world. And one option, of course, is to go and spend a few £1,000s and get an incredible website made, which in the future, no doubt, we'll do at some point. But they don't have the budget for that at the moment. So what we're going to do is create them a really nice, modern, fresh-looking website / landing page using a particular tool. And as we go through this, I'll talk about various different tools. And I want to acknowledge now that for any particular job, with the way that AI is at the moment, there are multiple tools that can do any job. And I'll reference several here today, but I do acknowledge that there are multiple tools that can do different things, but the example I want to give here for this particular example is a tool called Replit. Now, Replit's great for making programs, little tools and widgets, but it's also really good at making web pages. So essentially how this works is it's a bit like ChatGPT in terms of we can type into it. So we can type in a prompt of what we want. We can speak into it, and what we type, it will create. So this can create all kinds of things, but on a basic level here, it's built us our landing page. So essentially what I did was I fed in the current website for Abbey Fire. I said, this is the URL of their current website. So it took off the contact details, it took off information of all the different services that they provided, all those things. And then I said, we need a new landing page. I want it to be modern, fresh looking. I gave it the brand colors. I said it needs to be optimized for SEO and keywords to help us rank higher, and all those different things. And I put that into a prompt, and within a few minutes, it created this landing page. So I've got some screenshots here of the page moving forward. And this hasn't, just to be clear, this hasn't created a preview or a graphic or something nice to look at. What it's made is it's made a fully functional, actual working website. Now it looks like a full website. You can see the bars across the top there, but essentially they link to somewhere else on this page. So it's a very long page, but straight away it's pulled in the brand colors. It's pulled out there over 30 years of experience. It's taken all these things from the existing website and it's made it look a lot better. It's identified all the services. So if you see how it looked before, we've got all the different services there with some bullet points. We've got this banner across the top, so that does a really nice job of just breaking up the page and pulling out those key bits of information that people can read at a glance. The one thing that I didn't think was too great was this photo, obviously. So I'm not really sure what all the PPE is there for cleaning that window with a sponge. I think that all looks a bit strange. But yeah, obviously we can change that image. Remember, this is a first draft in 5 minutes. But it's pulled out some good stuff there. It's got a little bit of story. It's found the areas that they cover. So Dorset, Wiltshire, Hampshire, all that is correct. Some reasons to choose them. So of course, SEO optimized here as well. Why would you choose these guys? So if you're getting your fire extinguishers serviced, things like that, you are going to be looking at other competitors. So it's really clear and really important here as to why you would choose Abbey Fire. Regional coverage, again, we've pulled out this stuff into bullet points because no one wants to read those big paragraphs. And then we've got a contact form here again. And to be clear, this does work. This is a real web page. The contact form works. It can get submitted, all that kind of stuff. Like this actually works. And that took just a few minutes. And it's put the footer in here as well. Made a nice looking footer, links to the socials, and that's it in 5 minutes. So this is a really easy way. If you still have a website that perhaps looks like the first version there that we showed on screen, if you've got still something that's not great, Replit can build you something in minutes. So it's a really good tool worth checking out. I made all that on the free trial, by the way. And if you wanted to get that published, you can do for just a few dollars. And then you can either take that entire page and host it on your own platform, or you could host it within Replit. And I believe now you can even buy a domain through all that as well. And a little mention here to Foundations. So I'm going to share some other tools as we go through this, which can do that. But if you created your web page in Replit, Foundations is a tool that could host that web page and more. So there's a little QR code and the link there. But the point here is we can integrate all these different things into our systems. And Foundations is a really comprehensive CRM system, which can host all of these things. So that is solution number one. That's Sally there. She's now all set up. She's got a comprehensive website. And as we move through all the different 7 things here, and some of them are quite quick, some of them might seem quite straightforward, and then some of them are a little bit more advanced as well. So there's a whole range of different things that I'm going to show you here as we move around. And some will take a little bit more time than others, but that is the first one. That is Sally all sorted. I'll just address the comments there before I move on. Alex saying, I prefer lovable.dev for this scenario. Absolutely, yeah. It's not something I've used personally, but Lovable is brilliant as well. Really up and coming. I think it just floated. Definitely worth checking out. So something to compare it to. And in terms of not good for web developers. So I was at a meeting in Portsmouth last night, and this came up that we were talking about AI creating websites. And there was a chap there who has a website business, and he was saying he's not necessarily seeing it as a threat to his existence, but it is a threat to the way that he does things now. And his business has changed a lot in the last 6 months. And in the next 12 months, it's going to change even more. And I think if you can go and create these landing pages by yourself, okay, it's not going to be the world's best website. The point is, I think it's better than having something that's free or that's a template, and it just gets you going. But if you still, especially if you're doing e-commerce, or you really want to rank high for SEO and get onto page 1 of Google, I think the guys that build websites professionally all day, every day, I still think they absolutely have their place. And if anything, this will just help them to work quicker and deliver projects quicker within their teams as well. And perhaps, but it's interesting times, and I think a lot of businesses are going to change over the next 12, 24, 36 months. So now we're going to look at solution number 2, which is getting found by AI. So in this situation, Sally's got her website up and running, but she wants to be found. This is the current situation whenever we look for something here. And the example I give here is searching for a HR consultant in Southampton. So this is just a random search that I tried on Google. And if we were looking for this type of service in our business, this is what most people would do. And this has been the way for, I don't know, I guess 20 odd years now, the time that Google's kind of been king of search. And when we do a Google search, this is what we see, right? So if someone's searching for our business, or we're looking for something, we see a load of blue links. So we see the sponsored results at the top. We scroll down a little bit. We get our Google Maps results. We get a few red pins all over the place here. We scroll down a little bit more. We get some people also ask at the bottom, and then we get some organic search results as well. And if we were looking for something, for some HR support for ourselves, this is what we would do. And we'd probably click on a few different ones. We'd try that one, read the website, go back, click a few different ones, probably end up with loads and loads of tabs open. That's what normally happens for me. And eventually we'd find a few, and we'd maybe send a few inquiries. Now, since ChatGPT came around 3 years ago this month, interestingly, how that's flown, we can now do something different. So I put the same search into ChatGPT. I said, can you recommend a HR consultant in Southampton? It went away and thought for a few minutes, and this is what it gave me back. So there's just a few screenshots here, and it recommended one particularly to me, Pure Human Resources Limited. It told me why it fits my search. So of course, ChatGPT already knows a lot about my business because I've been using it for a little while. It asked me, it told me why it was recommending it specifically for me, and some questions that I could ask them to get the fit, to make sure that they were the right fit for me. And it also gave me at the bottom here 2 alternative or backup options. So effectively, quite quickly, it gave me a top 3. And then it said, if you like, I can pull together a shortlist for you of 3 to 5 HR consultants in the area so you can compare. So I said, okay. And it gave me back this table. So straight away, I got their 3 recommendations, where they are, their websites, their reviews, why they fit for me, and their key strengths. So if we think about when people are looking for what you provide and what your business does and what you sell to people, there is a large percentage of people that are going to move away from doing a Google search and just wanting to ask ChatGPT and be presented with a table. And a lot of people are doing that already. I'd be interested to know how many people are already doing this on ChatGPT. If you've already abandoned Google for your searches when you're looking for something like this, you can see that, if instead of all these blue links and red dots on Google, actually, if I can just get a table of businesses recommended to me, why it thinks they'd be good for my business, absolutely, this is where people are going. So the point of section 2 here in our solutions is for us as business owners, how are we going to get shown on this table? So ChatGPT has presented these 3 resources to me. I don't know if anyone in here is from any of these businesses. I imagine it's unlikely, but ChatGPT's given me those for a reason. And the point is, if someone's searching for what you do in your area, you absolutely want to be shown by ChatGPT. So that is what I want to show you here. And essentially that is done. A tool that can help you is AI Trust Signals. So I came across this tool recently at a conference that I went to. This tool was made by a chap called Marcus Sheridan, who wrote this book, Endless Customers. It's his 2nd book. And what this can do is it can generate a report to show you how you can appear on AI. So feel free to scan that QR code or just put into search AI trust signals, and it will ask for your business name and your email, and it will go away and it will generate a report. And when you get that report back, sometimes it takes a few minutes, sometimes it can take an hour or so, when it gives you all these things. And I believe there's 18 different points here on where it will rank you, and it looks at all the different search engines as to how they rank you and how you will be found. So some of it is a bit hidden and behind the scenes, things like advanced schema deployment, all those kind of things, page one visibility on Google, but it also checks what's actually on your website. Have you got your brand values there? Have you got an educational section on your website? Are you showing who's on the team? Okay, all these different things it looks at for you, and it generates that report. And when you log in, this is my report here, just a little screenshot. It gives you how you've scored across the various AI tools on the 3 different areas. So you've got the technical areas, the authority areas, and the brand areas. And this is my business. This is when I did it for the first time in September. And this is what it gave me. And it shows you where you've scored high, where you've scored low, but most importantly, how you can improve. So it tells me here, for example, I scored highly on pricing. So all my pricing for my coaching is on my website. It tells me here how it justified the high score. It tells me why this trust signal matters. So it tells me why people want to see pricing on people's website, why AI needs to see it, and why humans need to see it. And then it tells me what my score was. And if I click down here, ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, it would show me how each of those different large language models, LLMs, AIs, how they see my website for this area. An area where I scored low was educational content. So for example, I got a new website earlier this year, and I didn't move across my resources, my lead magnets. I still haven't done that. So of course it couldn't find them. So it scored me low, couldn't find my blogs, and it tells me here what I should do to improve that. Gives you a really nice PDF. When I did this, it was a 34-page PDF, a huge to-do list. Some of it's quite quick to resolve. Some of it takes a bit longer than others, but it's all there to be done, and it's something you can chip away at. And if you subscribe to their program, again, I've got no affiliation to this, but you can subscribe. It's $10 a month, so it's less than £8 a month, and it will regenerate that report each month, and so you can see how things are improving. And I would recommend doing it for 6 to 12 months and making those changes, chipping away at a few every week, every month, and hopefully slowly your score will increase, and then you will start to get shown by AI for those searches. So there it is again, for anyone who missed it, it's AI Trust Signals, really interesting tool. Kelly's saying, yeah, we used chat for this. So you can ask ChatGPT, would you recommend this business in this area? And if you're not shown, what you can do is you can say, oh, why didn't you think of XYZ business? And you can say, and it'll do a little look around, and it will come back to you and say, oh, we didn't include this business because of 1, 2, 3. And again, that will give you some basic things which you can do to help. And you're almost training ChatGPT yourself. But the one caveat I would say for that is, of course, ChatGPT, like the other ones, I'll keep saying ChatGPT, but it could be Gemini or Claude or any of the others. It wants to please you. It wants to keep you happy. So I would always say, if you do that kind of things, then get someone else to check on their ChatGPT account. Who would you recommend for this in this area, and see if it gives you the same answer. Because of the HR results that it gave me there is because it knows me, it knows my business, and it thinks they would be best for me. So if you think you've got yourself ranking higher, it's interesting just to check on someone else's ChatGPT account to see if you're also being shown for them. And again, you can then ask them to ask it, why not? And then again, you can just keep chipping away at these things. And I keep saying chipping away because it is a bit of a slow process. And what it's doing, the AI, it's not just looking at your website. Like for SEO, a lot of these tools would just look at your website, and that would be the marker. But what the AI is doing, it's also looking at your social media. It's looking at your Google business profile. It's looking at your backlinks. What other websites have you appeared on? And it's checking that everything's consistent. And it's about having the consistency in the different places and the different platforms that's going to help you appear in search. So that is my little recommendation for solution number 2, getting found by AI. Number 3. So Sally's got her website all set up. She's being found by AI. So the next thing she's going to be busy now is people are inquiring, things are coming in. She's doing a bit of work. She's helping people out. but she can't always get to the phone. So I want to talk now just for a few minutes about voice AI. And we're talking about this quite a lot lately, and a lot of people I think are a little bit skeptic of this. It does still sound a little bit robotic. However, the really key point for me here is it's not to replace anybody. It's not to replace the personal touch in business or anything like that. It's to enhance and improve, perhaps when people can't pick up the phone and things like that. So, of course, the problems that we have in our businesses, especially smaller businesses, where it might just be one or two of us and we don't quite have that team, or perhaps we have a team which are out on the road and there's very few people in the office. Or we also have things like weekends, bank holidays, when we don't necessarily want to be answering the phone, and that means we miss calls. So the phone rings and nobody answers it, which of course is a problem in most businesses. Larger businesses where you perhaps have a receptionist or someone whose job it is to literally transfer calls. So who you're looking to speak to today, and they just transfer that call along, and that's a lot of wasted time. Slow response times as well. So perhaps, again, we all know what it's like calling the doctors in the morning. If someone else is calling up, which there usually is, we're waiting and perhaps we just hang up or don't bother. And I say a doctor's surgery, but this could just as easily be happening in your business as well. Potentially, we also spend time answering the same questions. So most businesses maybe have 12 or 15 or maybe 20 questions that we get asked on repeat. Yes, we might have that FAQ page on our website, but not everybody is always going to go and read that. So people might call up and ask the same questions. What time are you open? Where are you based? What's your address? Can you help me with this? And we're answering those questions all the time. And it's a good chance to get feedback as well. So all of these things are problems in our business. So I want to just highlight a few things here that a voice AI system, when set up properly, it can do. And of course, the first one is answer the phone when you can't. So as I say, it's not meant to replace anybody on the phone, but if you are busy or the phone's ringing and multiple people are calling at the same time, if somebody can't answer the phone, the voice AI system can pick up the phone call for you. And they can act as a receptionist. So if you do have people that are just transferring those calls, and we can have it either diagnose a problem and direct it to the correct person based on a problem. We could say, oh, is Tom there? And it would transfer them through to Tom. We could do it by name or by situation. So this is just a really easy way for the system to identify why someone is calling and route it through to the right person. It can respond to those inquiries instantly. So having this system, again, the phone gets picked up straight away by a voice AI system that actually knows the answers and can help you, and it can answer the basic questions and confirm the details. But I think the coolest thing here and the best thing about this system is that it can book appointments in your diary. So for those that don't know, voice AI has become advanced enough now where it can answer the phone, take messages, and actually put a calendar appointment in your diary, and that'll pop up. And I've got a little video here of that in action. So we've set up a voice AI demo, which you can watch if you go to aiphoneagent.uk, or you scan the little QR code there. We've got a 3-minute video on that webpage where you can see this in action. So we've built a demo account for a barbershop, just because they take lots of appointments. But any business which takes appointments, this can be set up for. It can be trained on your business, and there's a little 3-minute demo video on that webpage there. So definitely worth checking out, especially if you haven't heard a system like this before. If you've never even seen or heard anything about what I'm talking about here, it's worth just going and watching the little video and just seeing how it interacts with people, how it pauses and answers the questions, takes the information and books the call. And then it even sends text reminders while you're still on the phone. Sorry, text information and confirmations while you're on the phone, and people can get booked straight through. And it can do anything up to that point as well. So perhaps you just want to set it up to take a message. So it can take some details from people that you could ask it, program it to take a name, an email address, and take a message. And perhaps that message just lands in your inbox to respond to the next day. You don't have to go all the way here with booking appointments, but the point is it can do as much or as little as you like. And these are getting more and more advanced every week. The voices are getting scarily more and more real every week. And there's some of the conversations we're having now, you can barely tell that it's a robot, genuinely. So if you haven't ever used a system like that, it's definitely worth checking out. And if it does sound interesting, there's a link on that page as well. You can book a little demo, and I could build one just for you and show you how that would work in your business. Very straightforward. and simple to do. So that is voice AI. Number 4. So number 4 is an interesting one, and on the face of it, it may sound like it's only for large businesses, but just to caveat this, even if you're a small business or a solopreneur, there's absolutely a value to having this, especially if you do get a little bit bigger and you just look to take on someone like a VA, or just get a little bit of extra support. This is something which can be absolutely useful. So this is our knowledge base. And essentially, a knowledge base is a central hub for your business information. And it's more than just Google Drive or having stuff on a server somewhere. Okay, this is somewhere you can store everything your team and your customers need to know all in one place. It truly is that central hub. Okay, you can think of it as your company's brain. Okay, it's easily searchable and always up to date. And it works behind the scenes to power some AI tools, chatbots, and some automations. Okay. And I say it's for you, your teams, and your customers, because there's the two sides to how you can use this. So internally within your business, you can give staff and contractors instant answers. Okay, we're not looking for files anymore. It's a searchable database. You can onboard new staff quicker, with the SOPs and resources. Okay, it keeps the processes consistent, and it can capture all that knowledge. So when somebody leaves, they don't take that knowledge with them. It's all stored in one place. And then you can tie it into your CRM or your task management system so that the AI can assist your team in real time. And there's ways, in terms of chat, where you can engage with these things. You can literally ask it questions like a chat widget, and it's feeding from your data. So this is outside of something like ChatGPT, which is looking on the internet and the world's data. This is just looking at your SOPs, your systems, your processes. The same knowledge base, or you can split parts of it out, can then be used externally, so that you feed that chat widget on your website or the voice AI agent that I just talked about, meaning that your customers will get instant and accurate answers, which can also make you more credible. Okay, so you get that clear and helpful information out to visitors on your website or prospects 24/7. Okay, like I mentioned with voice AI, it can reduce those repetitive support queries, saving you time, and of course it helps your AI visibility as well, which goes back to everything that I just talked about. So you can load up your knowledge base with things like FAQs, how-to guides, your checklists, your templates, your products, your services, all your policing, troubleshooting information, or anything that your customers are asking more than twice. And you can feed these knowledge bases from multiple sources. So you can feed it, you see here, we've fed it this website. We've got the web crawler there. So it constantly scans your website. So if you update your website regularly, add new articles, it can check it daily or weekly or monthly and get that up-to-date information. You can feed it tables, you can upload files, documents, PDFs, rule books, SOPs, whatever that is. You can upload them all into here. And you can have multiple. So you can upload a whole section just for staff, internal use, and then another load of stuff for customer-facing stuff if you wanted to split it up like that. So especially as businesses start to grow, or you look to take on a VA and things like that, this is something which you can share, and it just keeps everything super organized and, more importantly, accessible. And again, this is something which a system like Foundations AI can do. So all of this is built in naturally, and like I say, it integrates with your CM. Everything is found in one place, and you can upload all those different things that I talked about, and it's all accessible in one place. So that's number 4, our knowledge base. Number 5, prospect research. So I want to talk about researching prospects when you have perhaps a sales call. So many of us here, looking who's in the room, will sell B2B and through a sales call. So that means it's not like a normal e-commerce website. You're going to have a meeting or a Zoom or a Teams or in-person meeting with someone before they make that sale. So they're going to want to have a chat with you, and you're going to want to learn a little bit about them to arm yourself and be prepared for that sales call. And that is our problems here, because when we're doing that, especially if we're having a lot of sales calls, to increase the chances of conversion, the context of that person really matters. Okay, we want to know who they are, or what they do, and what they might need our help with. Okay, and doing this manually takes time. Therefore, most people actually skip it. Okay, and that's where the opportunity lies, taking the time to do this bit of research, or having AI do it for you, is where the opportunity absolutely is, because you show up a lot more prepared. So the AI can be your research assistant. Okay, you can feed it as much or as little information as you like. It could be the company name, website, a LinkedIn URL. Then the AI can scurry off and find out who the decision makers are, what the company does. Perhaps they've run an award recently, or they've got some announcements, industry trends or challenges that they might be facing. Okay, and if you're doing something like social media management or marketing management for someone, you can check how visible they are right now online, the SEO footprint, all that stuff. If you're a graphic designer, you can check their current brand consistency and perhaps find some pointers. And this is a basic surface level ChatGPT search. Okay, but if you get this information, you can turn that cold lead into a warm one really, really quickly. Okay, if any of you used ChatGPT for a little while, you may have used deep research mode or agent mode. And when you ask it to do something in deep research, especially, it can go off sometimes for over an hour. And it goes multiple searches and it's looking at all this stuff. And instead of asking you lots of questions, the AI will go and look for the right stuff. So it can check a company's online presence. It can do all these things for you, and it becomes a research assistant who doesn't really sleep. And this is all well and good, but I've said here, the point is to save you time. So the smart thing to do with this is to automate this research happening. So I'm sure many of you have already looked up your competitors, perhaps, or your prospects, and got some information about them. But the clever thing to do here is to automate it. So if you're using the right CRM, this process can absolutely run automatically. And how this works in reality is a lead submits a form. They submit that contact form on your website, or perhaps they book a discovery call with you, or whatever that process is. The inquiry comes into your business somehow, and the AI kicks in. Okay, it does that research instantly and then drops those findings straight into your CRM against that contact record. Okay, so by the time you jump on that discovery call, depending how open you have your calendar, someone might be able to book a call with you an hour from now if you have that time available. But the AI can go away, do that research for you. It can get all this information that you want, and that way you show up informed, and the client instantly feels like they're talking to someone who understands them. You get that background information. Of course, it may not be always 100% correct with AI. We've got these dangers, but you will at least have something, and then there'll no doubt be something. Every time I've done this, there has been at least one little nugget in there that has helped me. So absolutely, this is something you can do. And the way this works, for anyone who's seen any kind of automation tools or workflows, this is it. It's a really simple workflow. So the contact information comes in, ChatGPT goes away, does our research. It creates a note on that contact. And then this example here, I've got a second prompt where it goes away and looks up how many reviews that person has and what people are saying about that business, and then creates a second note. Personally, I wanted that as two separate notes. Technically, that could all be done as one prompt. And this is what sits behind those. So just to give you a bit of an idea here, I'm asking the ChatGPT to visit the website below and answer the questions provided. So in this instance, on my contact form, I was asking for the business's website or LinkedIn URL. So that was using the information provided by the lead. It's then going to give me a report on the type of business, their industry, what do they do, provide a brief summary, what are the products or services they're offering, who are the customers that they serve, what needs or problems does the business address, how big is the business. Then I ask it to go and search company's house, who are the business owners, and provide their names. And then look at the industry which they are in and to find out the typical challenges that businesses in the industry might be facing at the moment, and how might this affect their operations or their growth. And that is just what's sitting behind here. And it will put all that together in usually a couple of minutes, and it will create that note automatically in the system. And then for that second prompt here, what customer review information is there on their website? Tell me in under 50 words. So that's just me getting a real summary there. And like I say, all that can happen automatically. And what that means for you is you're not showing up blind to meetings. Okay, you can give a much better first impression, have a better first conversation, meaning you're more likely to convert because you're not guessing. And you didn't spend hours researching, the system did it for you. And again, just to caveat, this won't do all of the work for you, but it will do a really high percentage of it. In some cases, as much as 80 or 90%. and then you're just doing that last bit of finishing off, of course, checking the stuff that it's given you, just checking where that's come from, and making sure it's all right. But setting this up is a one-time thing to set up that workflow, and then as the leads come in, it just chips away and answers all of that for you. And again, this is something that Foundations AI can do. There are other tools out there, of course, that you can plug together. You could do a bit of make.com or N8N, if any of that have used that. You can set up custom GPTs, you can set up GPT projects and have this stuff. But if you want the true automated stuff, this is where Foundations AI can really help you bring all that together and do the most important thing, which is going to tie it to the contact record for when someone does book that appointment in, or when you call them back, or when you speak to them. And to answer your question, Paul, this is the same software that would do the knowledge base as well. So it would all tie together within the same system, within the same software. Everything goes together like that. Cool. So we're getting through these. That was number 5, prospect research, and automating it being the key thing. So at the bare minimum, you can definitely leverage and use AI to help you do that research. And then the next level after that, if and when you're ready, is to automate that process just to speed up and save time. Step 6, creating your own tools. So this one is probably one of the most advanced examples that I've got in here. And I will do my best to try and keep this as straightforward as possible. But what I want to talk about here is creating apps and creating your own widgets. And I do have some GDPR, privacy, safety, data stuff to go with this as a bit of a caveat. But if you want to create your own app or your own widget, even 5 years ago, this was really expensive to do, quite slow to do, quite technical. But now you can build useful tools, and I've got some examples here to show you things like cost calculators, dashboards. I think Bill said this morning he's made an internal dashboard, widgets, all in minutes using AI. You don't need to be a coder. In fact, I know, Paul, you've done some amazing stuff here already as well. You just need to know what problem it is that you want to solve. Okay, and tools like Manus, ChatGPT, or other low-code platforms, Lovable, which someone mentioned in the chat as well, for basically free. And this is genuinely leveling the playing field here between small businesses and big tech. So it used to be the case that if you wanted, a fancy widget as a small business on your website to help you with something, you might have to pay a developer thousands and thousands of pounds, and actually that wasn't realistic. You couldn't afford to do that, or you wouldn't do that. But now this stuff is really, really accessible and really fairly straightforward to do. So I've got some examples here. We built a cost calculator. So again, this takes the cost of sending a text message or an email or a few thousand emails, and then a client can see exactly how much that would cost to send. I've got some screenshots in a second. We've got a quoting widget here, so we can produce a quote instantly, saving time and generate some PDFs. Okay, and these aren't gimmicks. Okay, these are actual functional tools that will improve your customer experience and the internal efficiency as well. And the point is to remove admin, these bottlenecks, and position you as really someone really smart and more professional. And that's where the small businesses are really able to keep up here. And these are some of the tools that are good. So I've used all 4 of these tools at different stages to make the tools that I'm going to show you now. Replit is absolutely brilliant at this. If you're going to build something quite heavy and quite comprehensive, it can eat through the credits quite quickly. Manus is also absolutely brilliant. Manus for a lot of things now I think is better than ChatGPT. And I saw a report yesterday that the latest version of actually Gemini, which I don't have on here, is industry leading at the moment, but they all seem to be leapfrogging each other and getting better and better every week. But to show you what this looks like in reality, this is a little cost calculator that we have here. So I said, I just want a widget in brand colors to slide across and tell me how much it would cost to send up to 500 messages, emails, bunches of 500. So we go from 0 up to 10,000. What is the cost to do that? And the same for SMS. And I literally just typed into the chatbot. I made this one in Manus. I said, I want a sliding widgets ×2. I want it to say this, say this. These are the costs, and it automatically calculates it. And within probably 10 minutes, I had a working example that worked. And then within another 30 minutes, we're at this version here, which we now use. So it's really quick to get something that works, and then it's just a case of tweaking it and refining it to make it better. And what essentially what Replit gave me was this. For that widget, it was just 93 lines of code, which I couldn't write. I couldn't write that. I couldn't build that. I don't know what that most of that means. I could probably scroll through it and pick a few things out. But those 93, I couldn't write 93 lines of code, but the AI just did it. And then I can copy that into my web hosting platform, and that sits nicely in a little page. And again, if you don't know how to do that, you can give it to your web developer, or we can help you and show you. And that just integrates nicely now into our web page. So that's a fairly basic tool there. The second one we did, again, Abify, just going back to them with the website example you saw earlier. This is a quoting tool, so a little bit hard to see there, but they have a pricing model where if you're, for example, servicing fire extinguishers, if there's up to 4 extinguishers, it's £12 per extinguisher. Between 5 and 10, it's £8. And then the prices go down the more they have. So the way they were managing this before is just a spreadsheet with all these pricing groups. And it was a case of, okay, he's got 17. That means they are £7.50 each. Work that out. So what we did is we created this little tool where they can just type in exactly how many they have. It pulls out the correct price for that tier and then starts to add them up on the right-hand side. Really straightforward. I know something like Xero could do this, but it's a bit more tricky with the grouping. And this looks amazing. I don't have a screenshot here, but this looks amazing on mobile. You can open this up, 15 of those, 7 of those, 5 of those. We can then input the customer information if we wanted to. So there's a space there to put name, company name, the quote date. We can even put a discount on there if we wanted to, either as a percentage or a number of pounds. We can add some notes, perhaps on their availability. Press go, and then it just spits out this professional looking PDF. So this is a really quick way for you to kind of generate quotes on the ground, especially with team members going out on site, things like that. Or even if you are just at your laptop and you want to generate these quickly, when you've got complex pricing, you can put all that into here. And it will just do that for you. You could embed this tool onto your website as well. So if you've got a complex pricing model that you want to put onto your website, again, AI likes pricing to be on websites. So if you can make that easily and freely available, where people can calculate their own price and scroll around and, oh, I've got 3 of those, 2 of those. It just makes it really easy. It makes you look more transparent, makes you look more professional. And again, now really easy to do. This took me probably 20 to 30 minutes. I just copy and pasted the Excel spreadsheet into the Replit. I said, this is our pricing. I want a widget that does 1, 2, 3. We had a working example in about 15 minutes and then spent another hour adding on the PDF export, just making it look a little bit nicer. It's still not perfect, but within certainly less than 90 minutes, we had something that's pretty good and now being used. And that example here, you can see 1,345 lines of code. And I certainly wasn't going to create that. I don't know how to do that. I don't know what most of it means. And there is a little bit of danger to that, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the point is it works. 2 more quick examples here. This is a website widget that I built. So this is on our public facing website. And these are networking groups that I host around South Hampshire. And essentially, we have the Portsmouth meeting on the first Monday of the month and the Whiteley meeting on the second Wednesday. And I didn't want it to be the case where after a meeting finished, I then went and had to change the dates on the website for that. So it always showed the next 3 dates. We also had a different thing where on the 1st of December, we've got a joint event where both groups meet up. And in the summer, we do the same thing. So what I did was I basically gave all this information to, I think this was Manus. I used Manus on this tool. I said, these are the rules, these are the venues. I want these buttons to click through. So the buttons click to the relevant page to join. And this is on a few pages on our website and it continuously updates. So if you're running events or hosting things or anything like that, you can have this really easy widget to show up. And again, all for free. That just sits there on my website. There's no ongoing cost to have this. And then later on, we added in these buttons here. So if you want to add these dates directly to your calendar, you can click on that. It drops down whether you've got a Google Calendar, iPhone, Microsoft. It puts them all in your calendar. Really, really clever little tool. Again, less than an hour to get that running. And then something else here, which is a little bit more complex, but this is a return on investment calculator. So this could be good if you're, if a big selling point for you and your business is giving a return on investment to a customer through whatever product or service you offer. This is, again, a widget we can use. So this is actually looking at the voice AI system, which I mentioned here. And again, staying with the barbershop example. So if that barber normally has 15 appointments a day, an average order is £25, they're open 26 days a month. We've input our cost to implement the software in there. And essentially they need, I think it says there, an extra booking a day on the phone system, and the software is paid for itself. Anything over that, you're in instant profit. And of course, if the phone's ringing 5-6 times a day and they're missing some of those calls because someone's paying at the same time, or someone walked in, or they're busy cutting hair and there's noise, they miss the phone, really quickly they can see that return on investment, and you could create something like this for yourself to relay that ROI to your customers. And again, all that's using these tools. Manus and Replit are my favorite for these two, but Claude's also brilliant. ChatGPT is probably the worst out of these four, certainly. And the reason for that, when I was using it to do some work on these tools, when I asked it to change a little bit, ChatGPT would then write the whole stream of code again. If you've got over 1,000 lines, it's starting back from zero and it's writing the whole thing again. Whereas the others had the intelligence to find the correct bit of code and just change that little bit and give you the update straight away. Whereas ChatGPT just starts the whole thing again, so therefore it takes a lot longer. But definitely worth checking out. Some more examples here. Bill mentioned here, he's already building dashboards and KPIs to show team performance, quoting and booking systems. Okay, I've even seen a game being made. There's a really quick mobile app built in 20 minutes. But anything repetitive or logic-based can kind of be automated now. So have a think about what you could build to either save you, your team members, or your customers time every single day. And you could even ask, you could go to ChatGPT and say, what widgets could I build to save time in my business? And it will give you some ideas. Some of the ideas will be terrible, but there might be one idea in there which is brilliant, and then you can start to build it out. But a word of warning for this little section, which is really important. Just because you can build it, it doesn't mean you should, and it doesn't mean you should skip the basics. So I would watch out for anything like this. My caveat would be careful of the information that you put into it in terms of personal data. So the examples that I've shown here, apart from the quote calculator where we entered a customer's name and email, we weren't putting anything in there in terms of customers' personal or private information. I did see in a conference in September, someone made a game with this, and within an hour, somebody had hacked the game and give themselves the instant high score of 1 million points for this. It was just a little game, but someone hacked it within an hour, put themselves to the top of the leaderboard, 1 million points. So again, hacking a game isn't that catastrophic. But if you build a system like this and you're putting information and collecting lots of personal details and storing it in this new AI tool, it's probably not going to come with the same security and data protection provisions that something like a proper functional piece of software that's already established would have. So the examples I gave there were intentionally not doing those things, because that's my little word of warning there. And just think, if this particular tool that I'm building did get hacked, what's the worst that could happen? Okay, and the point is to be smart, not reckless, and I do firmly believe that's true. Okay, but not to scare anyone off. Okay, almost anything is possible here, and again, you can build real working tools here without a tech team or even knowing how to code, without needing to spend thousands of pounds. And the smartest businesses really are using this to move faster and, like I say, deliver more value to their customers. And if you pair this with a little bit of automation, it can be a proper game changer for your business. And it's just a quick mention again to Foundations AI. So these tools that I mentioned they have to be hosted somewhere. And if you're already using a system like this, you can copy and paste the code and have a real web page with your widgets running either public facing or private facing internally. And you can copy and paste it straight across, and you can have these widgets and tools hosted instantly at no extra cost, because things like this, you don't want that extra cost to be incurred every month. Death by direct debit, we don't want to have. So there we go. That is solution number 6. I'll move on to the last one now. If anyone does have any comments or questions, again, feel free to drop them in here before I move on to our last one. And then after that, I'm going to show you how to figure out what to implement first, or how to be helpful the most. Solution number 7, analyze and produce. So Sally now, who I haven't mentioned for a while, almost forgot about Sally. she's having sales calls. She's trying to get prospects over the line. And of course, like all of us, not all of those sales calls are successful. Okay. But those sales calls, whether successful or not, are all full of data. You're learning about the patterns of your prospects, what's triggering them, what's triggered them to book the call, and what's triggering their problems or their issues. If you're not successful on sales calls, what are the hesitations that people are having? What are the objections as why they're not buying? And what questions are they asking? What are the most frequently asked questions on your sales calls? And my question to you is, what are you doing with that data? Most people are probably doing nothing with that data. They have a sales call. Oh, that's a shame. Nothing happened there. So my question to you is why? Because once you've got these insights, you can act on them. You can do something about it. Okay. If your staff are handling calls, especially if you've got a sales team, you can see who's performing best, why are they performing the best. Or if you outsource sales, if you've got a third-party company doing any kind of lead generation for you, you can hold those people accountable and you can actually have evidence on to back that up. So especially if you've got outside companies that are doing any kind of lead generation for you, this will give you proper data that you can then use to assess as to whether that's worth continuing. And if it is worth continuing, actually, is it worth stepping up and giving them even more money to generate more leads, because your business will get more out of that. So you can do all of these things, and you can even evolve your sales scripts as well based on real buyer behavior and their trust. Okay. And as you get that trust and fewer objections, you will close more business. And as a bonus, you can get those recurring pain points. You can then create content based on it. So if these things keep coming up on your sales calls, you can generate content that's talking to the pain points of your prospects and your clients. So if these objections that people have, you can address those before they even hop on the call. And then those questions come up less often, okay? And speak to the real frustrations, okay? And all of that means you can attract more of your ideal clients. And the way to do this is to have your calls recorded. So whether it's on the phone or whether it's on Zoom or Teams or whatever it is, it's having those calls recorded, downloading the transcripts afterwards. And then actually the tool I would recommend for this is Manus. I think Manus does a brilliant job of this, better than ChatGPT, in my opinion. You can upload tens or dozens of sales scripts or transcripts into there, ask it for feedback and ask it these questions. What are the pain points that keep coming up for my prospects? What are the top 5 reasons someone didn't buy from me? What are people frustrated about? Why are people booking sales calls with me? And it will analyze all of the data that you put, give you these things. You can then take that information and say, what are the next 20 pieces of content I can put on LinkedIn which address the pain points of my ideal clients? And when you start putting that out as content, whether it's video content, written content, carousels, images, slideshows, whatever it is, the language that you use, that it's pulled out from these real sales calls, the people that are your perfect client, that language will talk to them and they'll think, oh, that's me. And it just brings them closer to you. And they think that people will believe you're more on their wavelength and you understand what they're talking about. And again, it'll all bring people closer to you. It'll build that trust and all of that to help you get more of your ideal clients. So a fairly short one to finish off there. That was analyzing and producing. That's all our 7 steps. So as a quick recap there, we looked at getting a modern and functional website. So replacing those outdated templates and using some to build you an amazing modern functional landing page or website. Getting found by AI. So that's our AI trust score. Voice AI to answer the phone when we can't and get those appointments booked in. Answer the boring questions. Building a knowledge base to house all our business information and create a portal and a chat widget internally and externally for our teams and clients to use and get information. Researching our prospects ahead of sales calls and automating the process to do that. Creating your own tools and widgets using caution, of course, and then analyzing your sales scripts to get learnings and produce new content from. And I'm really conscious here that some of you may have seen this image before. This can feel like a bit of a tidal wave coming at you. There's a lot going on here, and you, the business owner, sat on your little deck chair here with the tsunami coming at you, can feel a little bit overwhelming. So to wrap up here for the last few minutes, I just want to give you a little bit of help and advice here on where to start with all of this. What I recommend here for anyone is to map out your current processes, and this could be any process or procedure in your business. This could be the journey that a prospect takes when they inquire with you. This could be because the process of getting from an inquiry to producing a quote. It could be from sending out a quote to it being approved to doing an onboarding. Any stage of your client or prospect journey or internal process or procedure to fulfill a customer or to complete a task, map it out like this. And this can start literally on the wall with post-it notes on a big table. Get your post-its out and map out every single process and step that happens. There's some great software that can do this as well if you're more digitally inclined, but I quite like to use post-its and move things around. And then what to do is reimagine it with AI. So you take your process and then think, okay, where could AI help me with that? And you might be surprised at what AI can do. It's probably never going to replace all of it. Okay, you don't want to automate yourself out of the business, but if AI can do some of the admin or the repetitive stuff or some of the processing or some of these tasks, think, oh, AI could do that bit, AI could do that bit. And the point then is to test it out. And the two things I would say when you're testing something like this, it has to do at least one of these two things. Okay, it needs to ideally increase efficiency. Okay, and that means it does more in the same amount of time or less. Okay, you need to become more efficient without losing quality. Okay, that's really important as well. We might get more stuff done, but if it's all a load of rubbish, then it's not actually that helpful. Okay, and if it's not increased efficiency, has it added value? And that means to your customer or your clients. Okay, it needs to add value and make it all worthwhile. But I think the point here is control the controllables. It's one step at a time. Okay, the AI is ultimately just a tool, but I do believe now, as things are changing so quickly as they have been for the last couple of years, your future will be determined by how you use these tools. And a lot of these things are tools. Okay, it's easy to get overwhelmed and perhaps scared by some of this, but they are just tools. They are there to be learned and to be used. And ultimately, what you know doesn't matter. It's what you do that counts. So you've all taken kind of an hour or so here with me today. I encourage you to take some more time, perhaps next week or later this week, and just look at some of these things. Figure out where could this help me potentially? Where could this help my business? And by mapping out those processes is the first and easiest place where you can start to see those gaps. So that is, I'll leave it there. If anyone would like to download all of these slides, you can. I'll put a link here on the chat and LinkedIn as well in a second. And essentially you can download, there's over 100 slides there that I just went through. You can download all of those slides, absolutely no problem. Yeah, you're welcome to download all of the slides and use those for yourself. If anyone has any other questions or comments or queries, I'll stick around now and answer those. Thanks, CJ. Thanks, Heather. Thanks for your kind comments there. But yeah, if anyone has any questions or anything you'd like to ask me, I will stay here and answer those. Absolutely no problem. Thanks, Joanne. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate that. Bill's question here: if a new business should do one thing, what would you suggest? That is a great question. I think the AI trust signals is the best thing to do first. It's about £7 or £8 to get this full report. And this is like SEO. This is something that's not instant. It's not quick. It's not going to give you immediate results, but it's something I think everyone should be working on. So if I was to pick one thing from all of this to do first, it would be to generate that report and get it downloaded and start chipping away at tasks on to-do lists on here to help get you found by AI. If you look at those two examples, the side by side of AI results versus search, which we've all seen at this point. If you want to be found by AI, which I think we're going to need to be, especially coming into 2026, this would be the thing that I would be starting to work on straight away to make sure that AI is finding me. And then once it's found you, then could start to talk about you. And I believe AI ads are coming. I believe paid ads are coming to ChatGPT next year, where you'll be able to pay to get ChatGPT to talk about you in a sponsored kind of way. I do think, especially initially, those clicks and those ads will be very cheap, and there's a massive opportunity there for people, which is a separate topic again. But yeah, I would absolutely be doing this. Cool. So I'll leave this there. I can't see anything else coming through. Last chance saloon on any questions. I will email out everyone the links to this, the download as well. I'll chop this up as a recording so everyone can access it later, and you can have all the slides as well. I'll just put that QR code back on screen for the slides if anybody wants that one. There it is. Yeah, and of course, if you need any help or further advice on any of this, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to help. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in. Good to see you all. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and I'll speak to you later. Cheers.